A simple woman named Rachel was mocked, belittled, and practically shoved out of a bustling commercial casting session in a sleek Los Angeles studio until her billionaire husband, Nathan Carter, stormed in and flipped the entire production on its head. The room was a chaotic swirl of lights, cameras, and egos, a high-stakes audition for a national ad campaign, the kind that could make or break careers. Rachel stepped in wearing a plain white t-shirt, faded jeans, and a pair of scuffed sneakers, her chestnut hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was stunning, sharp cheekbones, warm hazel eyes, but the crew didn't see it. To them, she looked like she'd wandered in from a thrift store, not a Hollywood set. She carried a quiet confidence, though, a spark that said she belonged, even if no one else thought so. Rachel wasn't there to audition. Not really. She'd come to surprise Nathan, whose company was bankrolling the whole thing. He'd been buried in meetings all week, and she figured dropping by with a coffee and a smile might brighten his day. They'd been married 8 years, ever since he was just a guy with a laptop and a wild idea, back when she'd been the one paying their rent with late-night diner shifts. Now, Nathan Carter was a name that echoed through boardrooms and headlines, a billionaire who could shift industries with a single deal. Rachel, though, she still lived simply. Same old jeans, same old values. She didn't care for the spotlight, but she'd always had his back. Today, she just wanted to see him in action. The trouble started the moment she walked through the glass doors. The director, a wiry guy named Greg with a slicked-back ponytail and a permanent smirk, spotted her instantly. He was mid-rant, barking orders at a frazzled assistant when his eyes landed on Rachel. "Whoa, hold up," he said, loud enough to halt the room. "What's this? Did we switch to casting for a homeless shelter ad?" A ripple of laughter spread through the crew. Grips, lighting techs, a couple of actors lounging by the craft table. Rachel's cheeks flushed, but she kept her cool. "I'm just here to see someone," she said, her voice steady. Greg snorted, crossing his arms. "Yeah, sure. Look, sweetheart, this isn't a tourist stop. You're in the wrong zip code," she tried to explain, holding up the coffee cup with Nathan's name scribbled on it. "I'm dropping this off for my husband. He's—" Greg cut her off, waving a hand like she was a fly buzzing around his head. "Husband, huh? What's he do? Sweep the floors? Take your little Starbucks run somewhere else. We've got real work to do." The assistant, a nervous kid named Tyler, piped up, Greg, maybe we should—" Greg shot him a glare.
"Shut it, Tyler. She's not on the list. She's nobody."
Rachel stood her ground, her gaze unwavering. "I'll wait by the door then. I won't bother anyone." But Greg wasn't having it. He strutted over, his sneakers squeaking on the polished floor, and got right in her face.
"Listen, discount rack. We don't have time for strays. Get out before I call security."
That's when the actors joined in. A tall blonde named Vanessa, all legs and attitude, smirked from her perch on a folding chair. "God, some people have no self-awareness," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Like, honey, buy a mirror." Her co-star, a smug, pretty boy named Chase, chuckled and pulled out his phone. "Wait, let me get this. Budget, Barbie crashes the set. Perfect for the gram." He snapped a photo, the flash catching Rachel off guard. She blinked, her heart pounding, but she didn't flinch. "You don't need to do that," she said quietly, her tone firm despite the sting. Vanessa laughed, tossing her hair. "Oh, we do. It's charity, giving you a moment of fame you'll never earn." The crew ate it up. A lighting guy named Mike leaned over to his buddy, muttering, "Bet she's here to beg for a role. Look at her, straight out of a Walmart ad." More snickers. Greg clapped his hands, relishing the chaos.
"All right, enough fun.
Tyler, get her out. She's killing the vibe." Tyler hesitated, his eyes darting to Rachel with a flicker of guilt. But he obeyed, shuffling over. "Ma'am, you gotta go," he mumbled, avoiding her gaze. Rachel nodded, not wanting to make his day harder. "Fine," she said, turning toward the exit. But Greg couldn't resist one last jab.
Hey, tell your husband to send you with cab fare next time.
The room erupted, Vanessa and Chase doubling over like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. As Rachel tried to step back from Greg's venomous tirade, he leaned in closer, his smirk twisting into something uglier.
You know what your problem is,
he sneered, loud enough for the whole set to hear.
You think you can just show up, looking like you crawled out of a thrift store bin, and we'd roll out the red carpet? This is Hollywood, not a soup kitchen.
Vanessa chimed in, her voice dripping with fake pity.
Seriously, girl, did you borrow those jeans from your mom's laundry pile? It's embarrassing.
Chase laughed, zooming in with his phone camera.
Wait, let's tag this lost puppy seeks owner. Maybe someone will claim her.
The crew roared, a few clapping like it was a damn comedy show, while Rachel stood there, her hands steady, but her eyes burning with quiet fury. She didn't snap, didn't yell, just let their cruelty hang in the air, a noose they didn't even know they'd tied. Rachel stepped into the hallway, the glass door swinging shut behind her. The muffled laughter followed her, sharp and biting. She stood there, coffee still in hand, her chest tight with anger, not for herself, but for how easily they'd dismissed her, how quick they were to judge. She could have dropped Nathan's name right then, flashed the black card in her wallet, shut them all up. But that wasn't her style. She hated flexing power she didn't earn. Instead, she pulled out her phone and dialed Nathan. He picked up on the second ring, his voice warm but edged with concern. Rach? You okay? She took a breath, keeping it light. Hey, babe. I'm fine. Just got kicked out of your casting thing. A pause, then a low growl. They did what? She sighed. They didn't like my outfit, I guess. Can you come by? She heard his chair scrape back. I'm 10 minutes out. Stay there. Back inside, the session rolled on like nothing happened. Greg was barking at Vanessa and Chase, tweaking their poses for the camera, while the crew hustled to reset lights. Rachel's little interruption was already a fading joke. Until the elevator dinged. The doors slid open, and Nathan Carter stepped out, 6'2", broad-shouldered, in a tailored navy suit that screamed money and menace. His dark hair was swept back, his jaw set, and his presence hit the room like a shockwave. Everyone froze. Greg's smirk vanished mid-sentence. Vanessa's jaw dropped, and Chase's phone slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. Nathan didn't waste time. He strode straight to Rachel, who'd slipped back inside behind him, and pulled her into a quick, protective hug. You all right? He murmured, his eyes searching hers. She nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. Yeah, just glad you're here. He kissed her forehead, then turned to face the room, his expression hardening into something cold and unforgiving. Who's in charge? He asked, his voice calm, but carrying a weight that made Tyler flinch. Greg stepped forward, trying to muster his usual swagger. That'd be me. Greg Delaney, director. And you are? Nathan's eyes narrowed. Nathan Carter, the guy signing your checks. And this, he nodded at Rachel, is my wife. The air sucked out of the room. Greg's face went white, his ponytail suddenly looking ridiculous against his panicked expression. Vanessa choked on her own breath, and Chase muttered, "Oh shit," under his breath. The crew exchanged wide-eyed glances, the pieces clicking too late. Nathan Carter wasn't just some rich guy. He was the biggest sponsor of this campaign, the man whose company, Carter Enterprises, had dumped millions into the project. And Rachel? The nobody they'd trashed? She was his wife. Greg scrambled to recover, his voice cracking. Mr. Carter, sir, I didn't know. We thought she was just... Nathan cut him off, his tone sharp enough to slice through steel. You thought she was just what? A joke? Someone you could humiliate because she doesn't dress like a damn runway model?
He stepped closer, towering over Greg. "She came here to see me, and you treated her like dirt. You mocked her, let your little posse take pictures, and kicked her out. Explain that!" Greg opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Tyler shrank back, wishing he could disappear. Vanessa and Chase stared at the floor, their earlier bravado gone. Nathan pulled out his phone, his movements deliberate. "You know what's funny? I was on a call with the ad agency when Rachel rang. They're thrilled about this campaign. Said you're some hotshot director." He paused, letting the silence stretch. "Not anymore." Greg blinked. What?" Nathan dialed a number, putting it on speaker. A crisp voice answered. "Carter Enterprises, this is Lisa." Nathan didn't blink. "Lisa, it's Nathan. I'm at the casting session. Greg Delaney's out. Effective now. Send a replacement by tomorrow." Lisa didn't hesitate. "Understood, sir. I'll handle it." The call ended, and Greg's career imploded in front of everyone. The room was dead silent, the crew too stunned to move. Nathan wasn't done. He turned to Vanessa and Chase, who were practically trembling. "You two," he said, his voice like ice. "You think it's cute to trash my wife? Snap your little photos, laugh it up?" Vanessa stammered. "Mr. Carter, we didn't mean—" He held up a hand. "Save it. You're off of the campaign. I don't work with people who disrespect my family." Chase tried to protest. "But the agency—" Nathan smirked, dark and dangerous. "The agency answers to me. You're done." Nathan's gaze swept the room, landing on Greg like a predator sizing up prey. "You're proud of this, huh?" he said, his voice a low rumble that made the lights seem to flicker. "You trashed my wife, the woman who built me from nothing, because she didn't fit your little Hollywood mold. Well, here's your wake-up call." He pulled out his phone again, dialing without breaking eye contact. "Hey, Mark, it's Nathan. Yeah, the ad campaign. Pull the plug on Greg Delaney's contract and tell the agency Vanessa, Pierce, and Chase Logan are out too. I want new talent by noon." A muffled, "Yes, sir," crackled through the speaker, and Nathan hung up, his smile cold as ice. "You're not just fired, Greg. You're erased. And you two?" He nodded at Vanessa and Chase, who were shrinking into their chairs. "Enjoy your 15 minutes. It's all you've got left." The crew gasped, Greg's face crumpling like wet paper, and a thrill shot through the air. Justice, swift and brutal. Rachel touched his arm, her voice soft but steady. "Nathan, they've got the message. Let's not drag this out." He looked at her, his anger softening for a moment. She was calm, radiant even, her strength shining through the chaos. He nodded, but his eyes flicked back to Greg. "You're lucky she's kinder than I am. But here's the deal. This set runs my way now. Anyone else want to test me?" No one dared breathe, let alone speak. The twist hit hard when a producer named Kim, a no-nonsense woman in a blazer, rushed over from the back. "Mr. Carter, I had no idea this was happening. I was on a call with your team." She glanced at Rachel, recognition dawning. "Wait, you're Rachel Carter? The one who pitched the whole everyday hero concept for this ad?" Murmurs rippled through the crew. Rachel gave a small nod. "Yeah, that was me." Kim's eyes widened. "Holy Greg, you idiot! She's the reason we got this gig!" The irony landed like a punch. Rachel wasn't just Nathan's wife. She'd brainstormed the campaign's core idea months ago, a quiet favor to Nathan that no one on set had bothered to connect. Greg's knees buckled, and he grabbed the edge of a table for support. I didn't know," he croaked. Nathan's laugh was cold. "Yeah, you didn't, and that's why you're out." He turned to Kim. "You're in charge until the new director gets here. Clean this up." Kim nodded, already barking orders at the crew to reset. Vanessa and Chase slunk toward the exit, their egos in tatters, while Greg stood there, shell-shocked as his dream job slipped away. Nathan took Rachel's hand, leading her to a quiet corner of the set. "You sure you're okay?" he asked, his voice low, all traces of fury replaced with concern. She smiled, handing him the coffee, now cold. "I'm fine. Just wanted to bring you this." He chuckled, pulling her close. "You're too good for this place." She shrugged, her eyes twinkling. "Maybe, but I'd rather be here with you than anywhere else." The crew scrambled to salvage the day, but the damage was done. Word spread fast. Greg was blacklisted within hours, his name poison in every agency in town. Vanessa and Chase lost their spots to a pair of unknowns. Kim pulled in, their social media stunts backfiring into obscurity. The set buzzed with a new energy, a mix of fear and respect, as everyone realized who they'd crossed. Rachel watched it all unfold, her dignity intact, her beauty undeniable even in that plain t-shirt. She didn't need to gloat. She'd won the moment Nathan walked in. By the next morning, the new director arrived, a sharp woman named Elena who greeted Rachel with a handshake and a grin. "Heard you're the brains behind this. Let's make it great." Rachel nodded, happy to stay in the background. Nathan squeezed her shoulder, proud as hell. The ones who'd mocked her were gone, their careers trashed, all because they couldn't see past a pair of old sneakers. And Rachel? She just sipped her coffee, content to let the world catch up. Hey, if this story got you fired up, smash that like button, drop a comment, share it with your crew, and hit subscribe for more epic tales on our YouTube channel. Catch you next time.